Hello everyone. We will be reading today, or we will continue to read the chapter of how to overcome fear, correct? And yes, yesterday we understood that half of the stuff is in our mind and we need to get out of our mind. There are so many excuses that we give for not doing certain thing, not succeeding. We call them excusitis, right? And let's continue to read from where we left yesterday. Okay, so we were reading about fear, okay? How to conquer fear. So, what the author said in this book that only the action cures fear. Okay, you need to start acting and fear will disappear. Correct? So let's continue. Dr. Melvin S. Hotwick, noted advertising psychologist, in commenting on our ability to remember, says when the feeling aroused is pleasant, the advertisement has a better chance to be remembered. When the feeling aroused is unpleasant, the reader or listener tends to forget the advertisement message. The unpleasant runs counter to what we want. We don't want to remember it. In brief, it really is easy to forget the unpleasant if we simply refuse to recall it. Withdraw only positive thoughts from your memory bank. Let the others fade away. And your confidence, that feeling of being on top of the world, will zoom upward. You take a big step forward toward conquering fear when you refuse to remember negative, self depreciating thoughts. Why do people fear other people? Why do many folks feel self conscious around others? What's behind shyness? What can we do about it? Fear of other people is a big fear, but there is a way to conquer it. You can conquer fear of people if you will learn to put them into proper perspective. A business friend who is doing exceptionally well operating his own wood novelty plant explained to me how he got the proper perspective of people. His example is interesting. Before I went into the army in World War II, I was scared of just about everybody. You just wouldn't believe how shy and timid I was. I felt everyone else was a lot smarter. I worried about my physical and mental inadequacies. I thought I was born to fail. Then, by some fortunate quirk of fate, I lost my fear of people in the army. During part of 1942 and 43, when the army was inducting men at a terrific clip, I was stationed as a medic at one of the big induction centers. Day after day, I assisted in examining those men. The more I look at these recruits, the less afraid of people I became. All of those men lined up by the hundreds, naked as jaybirds, looked so much alike. Oh, sure, there were fat ones and skinny ones, tall ones and short ones, but they all were confused, all were lonesome. Just a few days before, some of these were rising your executives. Sorry, these were rising young executives. Some were farmers, some were salesmen, drifters, blue collar workers. A few days before, they had been many things, but at the induction center, they were all alike. I figured out something pretty basic back then. I discovered people are like people are alike in many more ways than they are different. I discovered the other fellow is pretty much like me. He likes good food, he misses his family and friends, he wants to get ahead, he has problems, he likes to relax. So, if the other fellow is basically like me, there's no point in being afraid of him. Now, doesn't that make sense? If the other fellow is basically like me, there is no reason to be afraid of him. Here are two ways to put people in proper perspective. First, get a balanced view of the other fellow. Keep these 2 points in mind when dealing with people. First, the other fellow is important. Emphatically, he is important. Every human being is. But remember this also, you are important too. So when you meet another person, make it a policy to think we are just two important people sitting down to discuss something of mutual interest and benefit. A couple of months ago, a business executive phoned to tell me he had just employed a young man I had recommended to him shortly before. Do you know what really sold me on on that fellow? Asked my friend. What? I asked. Well, it was the way he handled himself. Most job applicants, when they talk in here, are half scared. They give me all the answers they think I want to hear. In a way, most job applicants are a little like beggars. They will accept anything and they aren't particular. But G handled himself differently. He respected me, but what's just as important, he respects himself. What's more, he asked me as many questions I asked him. He's no mouse, he's a real man, and he's going to do all right. This mutually important attitude helps you keep the situation balanced. The other fellow does not become too important relative to you in your thinking. The other fellow might look frightfully big, frightfully important. But remember, he is still a human being with essentially the same interest, desires, and problems as you. Second, develop an understanding attitude. People who want figuratively to bite you, growl at you, pick on you, and otherwise chop you down are not rare. If you're not prepared for people like that, they can punch big holes in your confidence and make you feel completely defeated. You need a defense against the adult bully, the fellow who likes to throw his meager weight around. A few months ago, at the reservation desk of a Memphis hotel, I saw an excellent demonstration of the right way to handle folks like this. It was shortly around 5 p.m., and the hotel was busy registering new guests. The fellow ahead of me gave his name to the clerk in a commanding way. The clerk said, Yes, Mr. R, we have a fine single for you. Single? Shouted the fellow. I ordered a double. The clerk said very politely, Let me check, sir. He pulled the guest reservation from the file and said, I'm sorry, sir. Your telegram specified a single. I would be happy to put you in a double room, sir, if we had any available, but we simply do not. Then the irate customer said, I don't care what the hell that piece of paper says. I want a double. Then he started in with, What do you know who I am? Bit followed with, I will have you fired. You will see. I will have you fired. As best he could, under the verbal tornado, the young clerk injected, Sir, we are terribly sorry, but we acted on your instructions. Finally, the customer. really furious now, said, I wouldn't stay in the best suite in this hotel now that I know how badly managed it is, and stormed out. I stepped up to the desk, thinking the clerk who had taken one of the worst public tongue lashing I had seen in some time would be upset. Instead, he greeted me with one of the finest good evening, sirs, I have ever heard. As he went through the routine of processing my room, I said to him, I certainly admire the way you handled yourself just a moment ago. You have tremendous temper control. Well, sir, he said, I really can't get mad at a fellow like that. You see, he really isn't mad at me. I was just a scapegoat. The poor fellow may be in bad trouble with his wife, or his business may be off, or maybe he feels inferior, and this was his golden chance to feel like a wheel. I am just the guy who gave him a chance to get something out of his system. The clerk added, underneath, he's probably a very nice guy. Most folks are. Walking towards the elevator, I caught myself repeating aloud, underneath, he's probably a very nice guy. Most folks are. Remember those two short sentences next time someone declares war on you. Hold your fire. The way you win in situations like this is to let the other fellow blow his stack and then forget it. Several years ago, while checking student examination papers, I came across one that specifically disturbed me. The student who wrote the examination had demonstrated in class discussions and previous tests that he was far better qualified than his paper indicated. He was, in fact, the fellow who I thought would finish at the top of the class. Instead, his paper put him at the bottom. As was my custom in such class cases, I had my secretary call the student and ask him to come by my office on an urgent matter. Paul W. appeared shortly. He looked as though he had been through a terrible experience. After he was comfortably seated, I said to him, what happened, Paul? This just isn't the quality paper I expected you to write. Paul struggled with himself, looked in the direction of his feet and replied, Sir, after I saw that you had spotted me cheating, I just went to pieces. I couldn't concentrate on anything. Honest, this is the first time I have ever cheated in the university. I desperately wanted an A, so I worked up a little pony to use. He was terribly upset. But now that he was talking, he wouldn't stop. I suppose you'll have to recommend me for dismissal. The university rule says any student found cheating in any manner is subject to permanent dismissal. Here, Paul started bringing up the shame this incident would bring to his family, how it would wreck his life, and all sort of repercussions. Finally, I said, hold it. Now, slow down. Let me explain something. I didn't see you cheat until you walked in and told me. I hadn't the faintest idea that was the trouble. I'm sorry, Paul, that you did. Then I continued. Paul, tell me, just what do you want to gain from the university experience? He was a little calmer now, and after a short pause, he said, well, doctor, I think my overall aim is to learn how to live, but I guess I'm feeling pretty badly. We learn in different ways, I said. I think you can learn a real success lesson from this experience. When you used your pony in there, your conscience bothered you terribly. This gave you a guilt complex that in turn broke your confidence. As you expressed it, you went to pieces. Most of the time, Paul, this matter of right and wrong is approached from a moral or religious standpoint. Now understand, I am not here to preach to you, give you a sermon about right or wrong. But let's look at the practical side. When you do anything that goes contrary to your conscience, you feel guilty. And this guilty feeling jams your thought processes. You can't think straight because your mind is asking, will I get caught? Will I get caught? Paul, I continued, you wanted an A so badly, you did something you knew was wrong. There are many times in life when you will want to make an A so badly, you'll be tempted to do something that is contrary to your conscience. For example, someday you may want to make a sale so badly, you will think of deliberately misleading the customer to buy. And you may succeed. But here is what will happen, your guilty feeling will grab hold of you, and the next time you see the customer, you will be self conscious, ill at ease. You'll be wondering, has he discovered that I put something over? Your presentation will be ineffective because you can't concentrate. Chances are never make the second, third, fourth, and many repeat sales. In the long run, making that sale using tactics that hurt your conscience will cost you a lot of income. I went on and pointed out to Paul how an occasional or professional man loses his grip because of an intense fear that his wife will learn about the secret love affair he's having with another woman. Will she find out? Will she find out? Eats away the man's confidence until he can't do a good job at work or in the home. I reminded Paul that many criminals are captured not because any clues point to them, but because they act guilty and self conscious. Their guilt feeling puts them on the suspect list. There is within each of us a desire to be right, think right, and act right. When we go against that desire, we put a cancer in our conscience. This cancer grows and grows by eating away at our confidence. Avoid doing anything that will cause you to ask yourself, will I get caught? Will they find out? Will I get away with it? Don't try to make an A if it means violating your confidence. Paul, I am pleased to say, got the point. He learned the practical value of doing what's right. I then proposed he sit down and retake the examination. In answer to his question, but what about my dismissal? I said, I know what the regulation says about cheating, but you know, if we dismissed all students who have cheated in any way, half the professors would have to leave. And if we dismissed all students who thought about cheating, the university would have to shut down. So I'm forgetting this whole incident. If you don't, you will do me a favor. Gladly, he said. I walked over to my bookshelf, took down my personal copy of 50 Years with the Golden Rule, and said, Paul, read this book and return it. See how, in J.C. Penney's own words, just doing what's right made him one of America's richest men. Doing what's right keeps your conscience satisfied, and this builds self confidence. When we do what is known to be wrong, two negative things happens. First, we feel guilt, and this guilt eats away confidence. Second, other people sooner or later find out and lose confidence in us. Do what's right and keep your confidence. That's thinking yourself to success. Here is a psychological principle that is worth reading over 25 times. Read it until it absolutely saturates you. To think confidently, act confidently. To think confidently, act confidently. The great psychologist Dr. George W. Crane said in his famous book Applied Psychology, remember, motions are the precursor of emotions. You can't control the latter directly, but only through the choice of motions or actions. To avoid this all too common tragedy, marital difficulties and misunderstanding, become aware of the true psychological facts. Go through the proper motions each day, and you will soon begin to feel the corresponding emotions. Just be sure you and your mate go through those motions of dates and kisses, the phrasing of sincere daily compliments, plus the many other little courtesies, and you need not worry about the emotions of love. You can't act devoted for pretty long without feeling devoted. Psychologists tell us we can change our attitudes by changing our physical action. For example, you actually feel more like smiling if you make yourself smile. You feel more superior when you make yourself stand tall than when you slouch. On the negative side, frown a really bitter frown and see if you don't feel more like frowning. It is it is easy to prove that managed emotions can change emotions. People who are shy in introducing themselves can replace this timidity with confidence just by taking three simple actions simultaneously. First, reach for the other person's hand and clasp it warmly. Second, look directly at the other person. And third, I'm very glad to know you. Say this. These three simple actions automatically and instantaneously banish shyness. Confident action produces confident thinking. So, to think confidently, act confidently. Act the way you want to feel. Below are five confidence building exercises. Read these guides carefully, then make a conscious effort to practice them and build your confidence. First, be a front seater. Ever notice in meetings, in church, classroom, and other kinds of assemblies, how the back seats fill up first? Most folks scrambles to sit in the back rows so to they won't be too conspicuous. And the reason they are afraid to be conspicuous is that they lack confidence. Sitting up front builds confidence. Practice it. From now on, make it a rule to sit as close to the front as you can. Sure, you may be a little more conspicuous in the front, but remember, there is nothing inconspicuous about success. Second, practice making eye contact. How a person uses his eyes tells us a lot about him. Instinctively, you ask yourself questions about the fellow who don't look into your eyes. Where is he trying to hide? Or what's he trying to hide? What's he afraid of? Is he trying to put something over on me? Is he holding something back? Usually, failure to make eye contact says one of two things. It may say, I feel weak beside you, I feel inferior to you, I am afraid of you. Or avoiding another person's eyes may say, I feel guilty. I have done something or I have thought something that I don't want you to know. I am afraid if I let my eyes connect with yours, you will see through me. You say nothing good about yourself when you avoid making eye contact. You say, I'm afraid I lack confidence. Conquer this fear by making yourself look at other person in the eyes. Looking the other person in the eye tells him, I am honest and overboard. I believe in what I am telling you. I am not afraid. I am confident. Make your eyes work for you. Aim the right, aim them right at the other person's eyes It not only gives you confidence, it wins you confidence too. Third, walk 25% faster. When I was youngster, just going to the country seat was a big treat. After all the errands were accomplished and we were back in the car, my mother would often say, Devi, let's just sit here a while and watch the people walk by. Mother was an excellent game player. She would say, see that fellow. What do you suppose is troubling him? Or what do you think that lady there is going to do? Or look at that person, he just seems to be in a fog. Watching people walk and move about became real fun. It was a lot cheaper than the movies, which was one of the reasons I learned later the mother developed the game. And it was a lot more instructive. I still am a walker watcher. In corridors, lobbies, and sidewalks, I still occasionally find myself studying human behavior simply by watching people move about. Psychologists link slovenly posture and sluggish walking to unpleasant attitude towards oneself, work, and the people around us. But psychologists also tell us you can actually change your attitudes by changing your posture and speed of movement. Watch, and you discover that body action is the result of mind action. The extremely beaten people, the real down and outers, just shuffle and stumble along. They have zero self confidence. Average people have the average walk. Their pace is average. They have the look of, I really don't have very much pride in myself. Then there is a third group. Persons in this group show super confidence. They walk faster than the average. There seems to be slight sprint in the way they walk. The walk tells the world, I have got some place important to go, something important to do. What's more, I will succeed at what I will do 15 minutes from now. Use the walk 25% faster technique to help build self confidence. Throw your shoulders back, lift up your head, move ahead just a little faster, and see. Practice speaking up. Working with many kinds of groups of all sizes, I have watched many persons with keen perception and much native ability freeze and fail to participate in discussions. It isn't that those folks don't want to get in and wade with the rest. Rather, it's simple lack of confidence. The conference clam thinks to himself, my opinion is probably worthless. If I say something, I will probably look foolish. I will just say nothing. Besides, the others in the group probably know more than I. I don't want the others to know how ignorant I am. Each time the conference clam fails to speak, feels even more inadequate, more inferior, or makes a faint promise to himself that down deep he knows he won't keep to speak next time. This is when clam fails to speak, he takes one more dose of confidence poison. He becomes less and less confident of himself. But on the positive side, the more you speak up, the more you add, easier it is to speak up the next time. It's a confidence building vitamin. Put this confidence builder to use. Make it a rule to speak up at every open meeting you attend. Speak up, say something voluntarily at every business conference, committee meeting, community forum you attend. Make no exception. Comment, make a suggestion, ask a question, and don't be the last to speak. Try to be the icebreaker, the first one with a comment. And never worry about looking foolish. You won't. For each person who doesn't agree with you, odds are another person will. Quit asking yourself, I wonder if I dare to speak. Instead, concentrate on getting the discussion leader's attention so you can speak. For special training and experience in speaking, consider joining your local Toastmasters club. Thousands of conscious people have developed confidence through a planned program to feel at ease talking with people and to people. Fifth, smile big. Most folks have heard at one time or another that a smile will give them a real boost. They have been told that a smile is excellent medicine for confidence deficiency. But lots of people still don't really believe it. Try to feel defeated and smile big at the same time. Rolls away worry, defeats despondency. And a real smile does more than cure just your ill feeling. A real smile melts away the opposition of others and instantly too. Another person simply can't be angry with you if you give a big, sincere smile. Just the other day, a little incident happened to me that illustrates this. I was parked at an intersection waiting for the light to change when bam, the driver behind me had let his foot slip the brake and put my rear bumper to a test. I looked back through my mirror and saw him getting out. I got out too, and forgetting the rule book, started preparing myself for verbal combat. I confess, I was ready verbally to bite him to pieces. But fortunately, before I got the chance, friend, I really didn't mean to do that. With his sincere comment, melted me. I mumbled something about, that's okay, happens all the time. Almost in less time than it takes to wink an eye, my opposition turned into friendship. Smile big, and you feel like happy days are here again. But smile big. A half developed smile is not fully guaranteed. Smile until your teeth shows. The large size smile is fully guaranteed. Many times. Yes, but when I fear something or when I'm angry, I don't feel like smiling. Of course, you don't. No one does. The trick is to tell yourself forcefully, I am going to smile. Then smile. Harness the power of smiling. Put these five procedures to work for you. Action cures fear. Isolate your fear and then take constructive action. Inaction, doing nothing about a situation, strengthens fear and destroys confidence. Make a supreme effort to put only positive thoughts in your memory bank. Don't. Third, put people in proper perspective. Remember, people are more alike, much more alike than they are different. Get a balanced view of the other fellow. He's just another human being and develop an understanding attitude. May bark, but it's rare one who bites. Practice doing what your conscience tells you is right. This prevents a poisonous guilt complex from developing. Doing what's right is a practical rule for success. Fifth, make everything about you say, I am confident, really confident. Practice these little techniques in your day to day activities. First, be a front seater. Second, make an eye contact. Third, walk 25% faster. Fourth, speak up. Fifth, smile big. All right, so we are ending this chapter today. So happy that we reached the chapter 4, and we are learning so much about our own self, isn't it? That how our self confidence is dipping, and how can we take care of it, how can we fight fear. So these are the basic. Before dreaming big, we need to correct ourselves, so we are learning that. And from tomorrow onwards, we will actually learn how to think big. And when this reading will happen, it will blow your mind. So see you tomorrow again at the same time, and with lot of learning, and have a great week ahead. Don't forget to write 10 things you are grateful for today or yesterday. Okay? Count your blessings every day because we have got reconfirmation from David's quotes that you are supposed to count your blessing, isn't it? So, see you tomorrow again. Bye bye.